Hello and welcome. We are here at Microsoft Ignite 2025. I'm here with Phil Alfano. We are at the IBM booth. And how are you, Phil, this morning?
Oh, Pascal, I'm effervescent. It's so good to see you again and have another conversation with you. I think our last conversation was at Think.
Correct.
Earlier in the year.
Few months ago.
Man.
A lot of things happened in between.
So many things.
But before that, just for you who are watching us, for you to know what we're going to talk about and how exciting this is. We're going to talk about FinOps, financial operations.
Yeah.
How do we manage IT budgets? How do we bring IT not as a cost center, but also as a value generator?
That's right.
How do we measure all this? And maybe my first question that really is in the mind of a lot of people currently, following the MIT, 95% of AI projects fail.
Oh boy.
Oh boy,
I'm getting anxious just like thinking about that. Yeah.
When I hear that, I think, okay, some projects are left, we just abandon them, but I think it's not the majority of those projects that fail. Most of those that fail are basically the ones that we don't know how to explain why they are successful.
That's
and
true.
why they are successful would be, we have the right metrics to show that.
That's true. You can't manage what you don't measure, right? That's what they always say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you work on. Identifying what are the costs of all the IT spent and utilization, but also what is the value that is generated by that. And when we talk about AI as an enabler in a company, we need to identify both and follow both.
You're right. Yeah, so I think of it almost like an assembly line. You start with funding, right? Who is going to pay for a given initiative? And funding typically comes from the CFO's office. Mm-hmm. But our organizations who typically are good customers of ours, the funding then gets passed down to the IT organization to then deploy the infrastructure and the services necessary to build and enable a business process. And so how do you do this handoff from the funding to then start the initiative? And then what do you use to measure, especially with respect to AI? I mean, we're surrounded by AI initiatives here, and I hear that so many of these vendors won't even be here in a year or two because they can't justify their existence. So, there's so much to get into.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. And I love the fact that you started with the budgets, funding. And I think that's a good way to start, to give a memory. Remember everyone about what we are talking about. We're talking about Apptio. We are talking about a series of softwares that help to manage IT spend and IT value.
That's right.
And all this starts with the creation of the budget at company level by management.
Yeah,
correct.
That's right.
So management wants to allocate some funding to different departments, to different projects.
Yes. Even before then, it starts with objectives and key results.
Exactly.
So think about the OKR framework, where you have a set of high-level things that the board wants the company to accomplish. That decomposes into a set of initiatives that then get deployed. And so, of course, you require people resources, you require software, you require funding to go build these things. But you can't continuously have experimentation. You have to get out of experiment phase and actually get into production, right? That's kind of, if you look at, it can't be glass half full, it's glass 5% full if 95% of these AI initiatives fail.
Let's have fun together and let's create a story. So I'm the CEO.
Yes.
I allocate $50,000 to the marketing department team for them to work on an AI project to help them.
Yes.
Okay. From these 50,000, we will try to identify what will be the cost drivers. So basically, how are we going to manage and monitor those spending in time, having the right alerts when we monitor it. Can you?
Well, yeah.
Let's go into this.
So think about AI is now a new paradigm, because FinOps up to this point has been a conversation about typically cloud infrastructure consumption and spending. AI adds a new layer on top of that of token consumption, right?
Yes.
Based on the input tokens to say, welcome to our customer service site, how may I help you today? That consumes a set of tokens. And then whatever the customer, the person on the other end of that responds with to say, I need to check my bank balance, I need to reset my password. Those are the response tokens. So these can add up, especially in this conference here at Ignite, we're talking about agent-to-agent communications. We talked about that at Think. Yeah. So how do you know what the agents are consuming if there's no kind of human overlords that are watching them? So it can get quite expensive. And if you program it incorrectly, you can wake up with you say a $50,000 investment could turn into a $200,000 cloud bill because of the consumption of all these tokens. So you have to have some kind of metrics and alerting mechanism to say we are going over a threshold that we set.
I love it. I love it. So it means, for example, back to our example, if I allocate, I'm the CEO, I allocate 50,000 to the marketing team, it means it's going to be a certain amount of tokens.
Yes, that's right.
Those 50,000. So I will, thanks to Apptio softwares, I'll be able to create these drivers of cost,
that's
basically,
right.
which could be tokens, as you just explained. And whenever those tokens are consumed by the team, I'll be able to manage and monitor in real time.
Yes.
I'll be able to get alerts and tell me, okay, be careful, they are 30% above the budgets spent, and you need to do something. And maybe as well, you will have some automation that will maybe cut down for a while. So that you have the time to solve the issue if there is a spend higher than expected.
Well, that's a great point. So right sizing that we talk about as a concept in FinOps also applies to AI. So GPUs are very expensive, and you can choose different types of GPUs to execute your models on. There's also an A/B testing that many of our customers are doing with the models themselves. So is Gemini more efficient than Claude at solving a given use case? And so many of our customers are starting to work on a cost per token to see which is the most efficient platform to satisfy the use case.
I love that. So you talk a lot about cost per token, and that's I would say the new thing.
Yes.
But there are many drivers, and I think it's very interesting for the audience to know what are those drivers and how we can use them.
Yeah.
You're the expert in that.
Thank you, Pascal. You're flattering, but I think of cost drivers. We talked a lot about that, but the other side of the coin is the value drivers. So what are you getting from your $50,000 investment, as we're talking about? So the number of customer interactions that AI has handled. Is there a dropout rate? Did they satisfy the customer's request the first time, or did they have to escalate to a real human? What is the mean time to resolve if you're dealing with support cases? Or if you're really trying to differentiate, what is the revenue gained by deploying an AI solution? Because the era of blank checks is over effectively, and already, we saw Peter Thiel is defunding all of his investments from NVIDIA. The markets yesterday crashed, so everybody's kind of scared and nervous. Why? It's because it's hard to quantify what the output of a given investment is, and that's what we're here to help with, is to help our customers quantify what they're spending their money on, and to get out of pilot mode and to start actually getting into production and solving some of these real problems.
I love it. So some of those metrics can be drivers, can be time spent by people, can be talked about token, we talked about the consumption of maybe cloud.
Yes.
The consumption of data. Maybe
there's people costs, right? So you have to train the time to overlook this,
of those people and so on. I think that's a good timing now for you to remind us about the three main categories of products that Apptio brings and how they connect to each other and how this example can be brought to life.
Yeah, sure. So I start at the beginning. So the funding. You need a strategic portfolio management solution. We call it Target Process. We just released this new module called the SPM Control Center that is an intake of funding. It also examines a capacity model so it's great if you have the money to pay for it, but if you don't have the labor capacity to build it, then you're funded but not building anything. So once things go into build mode, you have to basically look at their infrastructure consumption. So that's our cloudability and now kube cost. So since we talked last, we've acquired kube cost, which I think of as Ozempic for Kubernetes.
Okay.
All right. So, the metaphor there is everybody is containerized or moving towards containerization these days. So being able to see through the black box of containers to understand who's consuming what, that's really a big kind of mission that we're putting behind that.
Good.
And then, of course, doing costing, chargeback, and planning is our core ITFM suite. So those three things, as time has gone on, courtesy of IBM, they've helped fund us to build tighter integrations between these, as well as within the IBM suite. So today we're going to be talking about planning analytics and the integration with Apptio ITFM, so that high-level plans from a CFO get passed down to an IT budget that's much more purpose-built to understand vendor invoices, asset depreciation schedules, labor that's not just collected in departments, but is allocated via story points and these kind of new agile mechanisms of how you deploy.
Excellent. Yeah, I love this. So you've been part of the IBM ecosystem for a few years now.
Yes.
And now we are seeing,
can't you tell?
and now we really see the integration of IBM's softwares and platforms with Apptio. Taking over, maybe, and connecting the high-level budgets that can be done at company level.
Yes, that's right.
And ready to cascade down these budgets and break them down into OKRs, as you said before.
Yes, that's right.
At the Apptio level. And so I'm feeling like we are closing the loop.
Well, and think of planning analytics is an overarching planning that doesn't just plan IT expenses. It plans real estate. It can plan revenue, right? And so
any department.
That's right.
It can be supply chain, marketing.
That's right. And
HR.
so that is used by the CFO and finance to build the corporate plans for the years. The handoff is necessary, though, because IT is so complex. And how much are you spending on GPUs? Are you closing down a data center or building more? So those are very specific things that aren't handled by planning analytics, but are very well handled by Apptio. So that's where the handoff, the baton pass, kind of comes from PA down to Apptio. Yeah,
I love it.
It's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So this is a new announcement, huh?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
That's right.
Exciting.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Wow. You are first.
Pre-built connectors between Apptio and PA to be able to connect the dots. We're also recently announced an integration with IntelliMagic, another IBM product that gives us mainframe TCO and visibility. Because obviously, as a purveyor of mainframes, you want to know who's spending, especially a big bank.
Total cost of ownership, huh?
That's right.
Okay, can you explain?
Well, so it's a complex thing for people to do on their own because you have mainframe monitoring tools, you have job files, you're consuming MIPS, then you have a general ledger on how you're paying for things. It could be on-premise, it could be billed through Kyndryl, a third-party billing. So you need to assemble 5 or 6 different data sources to get to, for a big bank, for example, how much is wealth management consuming versus home loans versus treasuries, right? And so this is very important questions to ask. And then because they're paying for peak usage, there's a goal to be able to optimize, to look for the long running jobs. Maybe you need to re-index the DB2 database to run more efficiently. So we are that spotlight on opportunities to run more efficiently.
I love it. I love it. So it's about managing the risks better. It's about monitoring and controlling what we are doing in terms of performance.
That's right.
What else?
Well, think of it like
I'm thinking of what can a CEO expect from implementing Apptio and all the ecosystem of systems we discussed.
Yep.
It's a management of risks, performance.
You're touching on all of them. So you don't want to underspend, so then you have risk because you're going to have downtime because you didn't invest in resiliency and fault tolerance, et cetera. You could overinvest, so then you're wasting money and you have perfect uptime, but you've spent too much. You could spend too much on performance, and then you're not satisfying your budget. So you're almost playing Tetris between performance, risk, resiliency, and cost.
It's a balance to find.
Play Tetris in your spare time? Yes?
Snake, you know the snake?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Centipede. I love it. You probably have an old Atari at home and you're doing that. I love it.
Nokia.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's hard on the old P+9 keyboards.
Yeah. You mentioned about agent to agent.
Yes.
And how we can, how Apptio can help manage the relationship between those agents.
Yes.
How they consume the service of each other. How also agents can help monitor and provide alerts maybe? I would love to hear more.
Yep, so I think of it as two sides of the coin. It's AI for Apptio and Apptio for AI. So you touched on the second one. So we have built connectors to be able to ingest the billing files of various AI platforms, like Claude, like Watson X.
Okay.
And as we mentioned, these token billing formats, it's almost as if the cloud service providers were 10 years ago. Very immature billing formats, hard to get detail on telemetry of which agents are consuming which tokens, and as we mentioned, more efficient use of one platform versus another. So because of FinOps and because of the specification called Focus, Focus is an interoperability standard that allows for a common billing format. So there's, I think, 51 different fields in the Focus specification.
Okay.
So it's, billing month, service name, region of the world. So those are examples of, we now speak Focus very well, and that's how we're able to pull all of these metrics in together. We're even pulling metrics in from mainframe use into cloudability. We're thinking about calling it mainframe ability. Now, I tease, yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah, so we're having a lot of fun. But the other part then is how are we making our platforms more ready to basically either bring your own AI agent to interact, because people, gone are the days where you build a dashboard and that's the single way that you get information out of the platform. You want to be able to ask in natural language, what are my most expensive services? What anomalies, what financial anomalies have happened in the past month? So
this interaction in plain language with the platform.
And each of our platforms, we've started to front end them with MCP servers so that they become AI aware and you can start to ask them questions and hopefully they start to bring knowledge, because we want to decrease the ramp time of someone new coming into our platforms and being able to get value out of them. And so the quickest way is to say, hey, let's type in a query and then get a response on some answer about a financial or cloud or infrastructure anomaly.
Excellent, I love it. Have you had already some stories of clients in the context of agents having some issues, managing their costs, managing their performance or their value or their risk?
Yes, so we have a large managed service provider that has been talking about PTUs. So I know you're buzzword worthy, right? So PTUs are these performance throughput units with AI. So in other words, if I'm running an AI model next to yours, I don't want your performance to impact mine. And so these are commitments that you make with the hyperscalers to say, I have X number of PTUs that are allocated for my capacity so that whatever I do is not impacted by workloads consumed by my neighbors. And so being able to then take the next steps of looking into the future based on your use, what kind of commitments do you need to make to PTUs looking ahead? Another one is being able to, like I said, do A/B testing of one model versus another. So pitting, Granite against Llama for a given use case to see what is that kind of cost per token.
Got it. And compare and being able to compare.
That's right.
And yeah.
Yeah, you can do it among the chipsets. You can do it among the hyperscalers. You can do it among the models. So there's so many permutations and growing every day, right? With the introduction of new models, it's hard to know until you actually run water through the pipes as to what comes out the other side.
Phil, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. You have such an energy and such a passion for what you're doing.
I think you're the kerosene and I'm the match, buddy. It's definitely fun. I really enjoy hanging out with you.
Yes. Yeah. Before we leave, something to the people watching us. If they want to implement such a system to help them manage all that we've discussed about, what should they do? What is the first step? They call Phil. Can they find you on the internet? Can they?
Of course. Yeah. You found me, and we found each other. So Phil Alfano on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Apptio.com to see all of our latest solutions.
Yes.
And of course, hitting us at the booth. But I think there's so much opportunity as the next time I see you in 6 months, there'll be a new set of announcements.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I can't tell you about, the super secret stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
And I hear few CEOs telling me, I would love to implement it, but are we ready for that? Do we have the data? How long will it take to implement such a solution?
Yeah.
Can you
Oh, sure.
Reconfort them?
Well, so first, if you're wanting to deploy an AI solution, you don't want to just do it because you have FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yes.
Right. So there has to be a business case, and it should be rooted in one of the things we talked about, whether it's share of revenue or increased net promoter score, customer satisfaction, mean time to resolve. Like those are real empirical things you can baseline before you ever deploy an AI solution, and then see.
And specifically Apptio.
So for Apptio, the easiest way to get started, Cloudability and kubectros. kubectros, there's a free download. So for a limit of a certain number of cluster nodes in a Kubernetes cluster, you can deploy it for free. So that's a good way to start. Credentialing Cloudability with an AWS, an Azure, a GCP account. That's an easy way to get started. And then we have ITFM Essentials. That is an easy way for people to start with a monthly view of their expenses and then work up from there. So we want to get people achieving value within 2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. And then are there any prerequisites in terms of data available?
That's the best part about Apptio, I think, is the ability to deal with data in the states that it is. We have connectors for so many popular platforms like Workday, like SAP, Oracle Financials, ServiceNow. We have 7 different connectors for ServiceNow that deal with CMDB, CI relationships, assets, infrastructure, service requests. So we built all these pieces in place, and now all you got to do is connect the dots.
So simple.
Game, set, match, right?
Excellent.
Yeah, indeed.
Phil, thank you so much for your time.
Pascal, it's always great
for your
to talk
energy.
to you.
And for you watching us, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
All right, until next time.